lately I've been buying DJ vinyl from, in fact, buying just entire collections from DJs I knew when I used to spin vinyl records a long time ago. Well, I still spin, you know, vinyl will always just have a special place in my heart. But anyway, the purpose of this video is to put a spotlight on a certain record that had an impact on the state of the music, the party music that was going on back then. And this is what I found. Focus in for a second. Yes. Yeah. The whole old school Nucleus sleeve is just completely torn to shit and torn back. And, you know, when I got the record from, when I got the whole collection, when I saw this, I immediately, you know, took it. It was in this sleeve, you know, with the record exposed. And so I put it in a static resistant inner sleeve into a new generic white sleeve, and then put it in a plastic outer jacket and sealed it, of course. Yeah, but hey, this record itself, I just wanted to ramble about it for a minute and talk about how it really, this particular record changed the state of energy from what it was, and kind of ushered in a new era of more aggressive sound with a much cleaner, tidier bass. Instead of you know, having that hoover sound that we were also used to, that we were kind of getting sick of, I guess. This ushered in a more of aggressive, like electronic, like stabby synth lines that were just, you know, had a lot of bends and good filters to it. This record really did put Nucleus on the map. I mean, they had some releases prior, but nothing as popular as this. I think this like got in like a top 30. Like, it was really fucking popular. But yeah, this is the BK and Nick Sentience remix of Praga Khan's Injected with a Poison. And after this record dropped, a lot of fucking producers followed suit. They started making energy that we, the way I want to remember it, you know, because like, well, the hard energy before then, of course, yeah, it had the hoover, and you know, of course, we had our tin ribs, and we had our like Mohawk records and stuff, shock records, tidy tracks, things like that. But you know, hoovers, you know, predominantly bouncy bass with like a lot of like recycled like hip hop samples, the woos and yas, and you know, just like, I don't know, it was good stuff. But this brought in, this was just in a league of its own, and it was so good that it just pretty much changed the music from I think it was called New Energy back then, I guess was the term, into what was now called Hard NRG. Just more aggressive and like darker and more ominous sounds, and just really fucking in your face. But man, it was just phenomenal, especially at the beginning after you finished your mix and the synth line really started to develop. Yeah, the whoop sound started to come in, and you know, we can talk about that in a minute, but fucking when that synth line first started to break in, it was like blah, 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 blah. Man, it was just in your face and fucking aggressive, and it was just like, the first time I heard it, I knew exactly where I was, you know, exactly what party. I still fucking remember it. Just like, God, it was just in your face. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is awesome. I remember like going up to the decks, and I don't remember who was spinning, but I remember the record. And I remember running up to the decks, and like, as it was spinning around trying to read the label, you know, we all did that, you know, especially if you're a DJ and you heard a song that you didn't have in your collection that you wanted, you'd walk up to the decks and be like, try to read it. But yeah, then it broke down and it had the turntable wind down on the vocal sample itself. We don't need that anymore. More. And then it started using the bass from like the original Praga Khan Injected with a Poison. That's pretty much the only, like, as far as musically, that's really the only thing that they really sampled from the original song. And of course, like the vocal samples, but like musically, it's like the only thing they really sampled. And otherwise, it's a whole new track all in itself. Yeah, the bass like swelled up, and then you had that long rolling snare drum and kick drum. And you know, built up that synth line that I had mentioned, and then fucking it breaks with a, we don't need that anymore, and then the 4x4 beat hits, man, it's in your face. It's fucking, oh, it's fucking, oh, it was just fucking awesome. Kind of broke down, and it gave you a, you know, 4 reverse kicks and then a standard beat, and that's when you start your mix out. It's just such a good record. Yeah, I remember having this record myself, and like, but I had the reissue where it had the really nice sleeve with the skeleton hand with a hypodermic needle. It was actually a really nice looking record, but getting the initial release, the first release, the original release of this, you know, really stuck out to me and made me want to take this and put it into protect it with the outer sleeve. And I know that's like, Roger, you can find this record for like $4 or $5, you know, online, Discogs, eBay, you know, and probably in better shape too, you know, and then ship it out to you for like $5, you know, depending on where it comes from. If it, yeah, get it to yourself like for about $10, the price that we paid back in 2000. You know, we would pay between, I don't know, $10 to $12 a record, you know, depending on which record shop you went to. If you were like spinning energy back then, and if you didn't have it, it was like, what the fuck were you doing? Like you need to have this record, because we were all playing it. I pretty much didn't know anybody that played hard trance or like energy back then that didn't have this record. You know, like especially when the reissue came out, because a lot of people swooped up the reissue because the first release was just so fucking popular. If you didn't have this record within the 6 months that it came out, like, it's like, what were you doing? Like, holy fucking shit. Like, if you didn't like it, I can understand, you know, somebody that was like in the, you know, drum and bass or house at the time, you know, not being into it. But if you were into trance and like energy at that time, like, you know, you didn't like it, then you were just like living in the past. Like, holy shit. Like, this was just such a phenomenal, you know, game-changing fucking record. That could probably be said about quite a few, like even like some of the 10-rip tracks, tiny tracks. You know, you could totally say that about myself. You know, like Roger, you're totally living in the past. You're reviewing a record that's 18 years ago. You fucking sounded like a kid in a fucking candy store when you're like talking about this record. But hey, man, like fucking, I respect the music that I came from. I respect that, you know, the fucking vinyl that it's on, and it needs to be saved. And you know, can't really freaking fault me or anybody for wanting to save the music that fucking I know and love. You know, especially when it's printed fucking in its analog format. But yeah, like my only complaint about this record is, you know, after you finish your mix, the whoop sound that was like used a lot in 80s like hip hop, especially like It Takes Two. I forgot who that's by, but like the whoop and the yeah sound, there's that whoop sound, but it sits pretty far back in the mix, so it's, I mean, it's not annoying or anything in this song, but it's really my only complaint. This particular song just personified that whole the whole genre, and the new, you know, coming of age of the energy genre. You know, everything after that pretty much like took, you know, this took the lead, and then everybody else kind of just went with it because it was a fucking fantastic formula. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video, then of course like and subscribe, because I'll start making more as I go through people's collections and finding more tracks that are worth talking about, notable tracks, ones that have had a change on the genre, or just, you know, popular ones in general. If anybody else has any comments about this record, any stories that they have, you know, fucking share it in the comments below. It's more about a discussion and a respect about the music. I'm in the midst of a fucking treasure hunt, and since everybody has switched to digital, then, you know, they're getting rid of the records, and that's where I come in, and that's where I can, you know, fix up these old records and just take care of them so that, you know, they can survive. You know, the vinyl, while you know, we all still love it, and also, you know, has like a special heart, you know, special place in all of our hearts. You know, it's just, you know, it's worth saving. You know, it's definitely something that I definitely respect and will always respect. You know, But yeah, it's still meant to be played. You know, it's kind of sucks that a lot of these old records are sitting in somebody's closet and they're not being played. You know? So I encourage everybody to take out their techniques and fucking play some vinyl every now and then. Right, well, thank you for listening to my video. And again, like if you're interested in buying some vinyl, I do have a Discogs page. You can look through my inventory and see if there's anything you like, you know, free to place an order and I'll ship it off to you. I'll have that link in the description down below, along with a link to the song itself. And yeah, and this is also about the conversation. So if anybody has any comments, if I got any of my information wrong, please correct me in the comments down below.